The year is 2023, and a man in Glasgow has just decided he's going to venture into immersive experiences and extraordinary events. And what better way to start this new venture than his very first idea, Willy Wonka, the Chocolate Factory Experience. He sets up a new company, House of Illuminati, snaps up the domain name, and Billy Cole and the boys get to work. What could go wrong? It had taken a ton of work, but in January, the website is finally ready to go. And through third-party ticketing websites and a few sponsored Facebook posts, various parents in and around Glasgow slowly find themselves on it. What they see is astounding. Over an hour of unparalleled immersive experiences, including mystique galas, enchanted retreats, magic and wonder, cascading chocolate fountains, chocolate rivers, and giant mushrooms filled with sweets. A 3-course meal is also apparently advertised. However, some things in the ads are quickly changed. The 3-course meal is removed, and the name has to be taken down. Apparently, they'd received a hasty notice from Warner Brothers, and turns out, outright ripping the name of a world-famous franchise is a gross violation of IP law. So Billy brainstorms, and after hours of deliberation, he's got it. Willy Wonderland awaits. He posts, "Step into the enchanting world of Willy." But for unknown reasons, that name is short-lived. So the name is changed again. This time, he lands on Willy's Chocolate Experience. Perfect. He also adds this disclaimer on the bottom of the website. So that's all fine then. But anyway, a 1-hour-long experience that sounded breathtaking. And there's more. Embark on a journey filled with wondrous creations and enchanting surprises at every turn. It reads, "Venture through the enchanted garden, where you'll find giant sweets, vibrant blooms, mysterious-looking sculptures, and magical surprises, all while collecting delicious beans." Then onto the Imagination Labs. Here, you'll encounter mind-expanding projections and optical marvels. After that, the Twilight Tunnel, a dimly lit passage adorned with captivating projections, enigmatic sounds, and surprising turns that will immerse you in suspense and excitement. Also, embark on the exhilarating Tunnel of Fear, reliving the iconic boat scene from the movie. Experience live performances featuring the lovable Oompa Loompas, who bring classic tunes to life. And of course, don't miss out on the enchinnering entertainment, including catcacating, live performances, catchy tuns, exarcadre lollipops, and a paradise of sweet teats. Wow. It sounded phenomenal. Even the website. Clearly a ton of talented graphic design and artwork had gone into it, and it showed. £35 a ticket for all of this? Yes please. Where is this magical event? The Box Hub Warehouse, Glasgow. Doors open 24th to the 25th of Feb. Be there. But first, look up. Is that the intense, epic, accurate, action-packed free-to-play PvP action only found in the game War Thunder? My god. Load up and jump into a wide variety of vehicles. Choose from tanks, to ships, to planes, to choppers, in a game with over 2,000 options. All very detailed, and all in very good graphical 4K graphics. But there's more. In fact, War Thunder is the most comprehensive vehicle combat game of all time. It includes a dynamic damage system, which takes into account where you've been hit. Watch out for those sensitive spots. And it has a huge customization system. Hundreds of camos, historical emblems, and over a century of vehicles to pick from. And you can play on Xbox, PlayStation, and PC for free. Fancy a large bonus pack? Sign up through the link in the description or the pinned comments below. Saturday the 24th of February, 2024. Staff have been at the warehouse since Friday evening, working round the clock building the sets, memorising the script, and preparing the sweets. Everyone working to make sure this magical weekend goes off without a hitch. And on Saturday, it's finally game day, and Willy's Chocolate Experience opens its doors. Parents who'd shelled out 35 quid a head round up their excited children, a ton of whom had even dressed up for the occasion. Doesn't he just look marvellous? What a lovely day this would be. And parents start arriving mid-morning. Some had driven longer than 2 hours to get there, but worth the wait it was. It looks magical already. And so, the families head in. What do they see? Pure horror. Gone were the bright colours of the website. The enchanting descriptions of a magic, sprawling chocolate factory with singing, dancing Oompa Loompas, massive galas, vibrant blooms and chocolate rivers. Instead, the families walk into a meth lab. Literally just a grey, musty warehouse space in an industrial estate. They're greeted by a few cheap props scattered about, all closed off within a shoddy, 6-foot-tall, black fabric fence in the middle of the room. The floor, sticky, dirty, generally just disgusting looking, and a small, pathetic whimper of smoke drifts around the Fallout 4 chemistry station, where a couple of sad Oompa Loompas look to be cooking crystal meth. The hallways appear to be made out of tablecloth and cheap mirrors, and gaffer tape covers the floor in open, plain sight. AI-generated images are everywhere, without even the slightest effort to correct their spelling mistakes. Great efforts had been made to cover up the ceiling, but alas, it could not be done. There were also just random objects laying around, like this unplugged flat-screen TV, for example. But get past how horrific everything looks, and people have an experience ahead. Not the one they were advertised, but still definitely quite an experience. Just step through those magic gates there. The enchanted garden? Hardly. The imagination labs with mind-expanding projections and optical marvels? Not sure about that. The Twilight Tunnel and its captivating projections and enigmatic sounds? Nah. The Mystique galas? Where? Iconic boat scene? Nope. And is this the famed chocolate river? There were surprises at every turn. It's just not sure if they're enchanting.
It's the unknown.
Ah yes, the classic character, the unknown. The terrifying evil chocolate maker who lives in the walls. Of course. There apparently was a small chocolate fountain, but it broke early on and had to be removed. And yes, there were also a few giant mushrooms, however, they were not filled with sweets. And instead of the live performances, you know, the singing and dancing, etc., people get to watch Willy Wonka and his Oompa Loompas in their most luxurious dollar store regalia. By the way, the Oompa Loompas are actually now called Wonky Doodles, and Willy Wonka, Willy McDuff. Undoubtedly another suave, subtle dodge of IP violation from our boy Billy. Anyway, during the experience, the Oompa Loompas were supposed to give out a ton of sweets. However, there's an issue. See, they start the day strong in numbers. Numerous bags of sweets are loaded and ready to go. They even show some pics on Facebook. However, supplies do not hold. Apparently, very early on, and the numbers were already getting low. And so, the rationing begins. Only the smallest bag of sweets for the children. And by just 11:30 in the morning, supplies are critical. Even more severe rations are mandated, and actors are told to give children just one jelly bean each. And then they ran out halfway through anyway. At least there were generous servings of lemonade. And that's it. Willy's chocolate experience. Feel free to take a walk just over there to Willy's Cafe. Sit down on our pristine chairs and get a hot dog or pizza. None of the food or drink included with the original ticket, of course. And then there's the bouncy castle just over there. Multiple parents are calling it a blatant safety hazard, but they're just being dramatic. And all in all, the 60-minute experience is over in about 5. The whole thing is so impressively bad. Parents whip their phones out and start snapping. Whether it was the demonic figure popping out from behind a cheap mirror, or just the overall gulag-esque essence in the air, the children reach breaking point and start crying. They're not happy, but their parents, having just shelled out 35 quid a head for this, are even less so. They'd been lied to. No sculptures, mind-expanding projections, optical marvels, chocolate rivers, barely any sweets and no enigmatic sounds. Bar the collective cries of terrified children, of course. Barely any of the actual descriptions had made it in. All of this even after House of Illuminati's Facebook post a few weeks before the event, stating 6 times and in 6 different ways that this whole thing was definitely not a scam. It's even there. #not a scam. How could this have happened? Some try to ignore the faint cries of children and complete lack of value for the £35 a head they'd just spent, and just enjoy their quarter cup of store brand lemonade. But things eventually come to a head. Parents were horrified. Horror turns to confusion. Confusion turns to rage. And so, the revolt begins. Our boy Billy is cornered and swarmed by crowds of angry parents. He tells everyone not to worry, a refund is on its way, and with that, he makes his escape. Also, for some reason, someone calls the police and 4 riot vans show up. This is also all happening around midday, by the way, meaning families are still arriving, and now, instead of Willy's chocolate experience, they're greeted by the sight of this, and a sign saying sorry, we're cancelled. Worst part about this whole thing, besides the small fountain that had broken early on, there was no chocolate. Okay, things didn't exactly go to plan. So the same day, House of Illuminati issues an apology. They also reiterate that, yes, everyone will be given refunds. The goal was to cool everything down. However, things were just heating up. See, the snaps parents took on the day made their way around online, and eventually, the New York Times gets a whiff. And 3 days later, this article goes up on their website, and the rest of the media jumps on board instantly.
An event called the Willy Wonka Chocolate Experience. It enraged parents. They're calling it a ripoff.
Children and parents were shedding tears of disappointment.
I arrived on the Friday and I was like, oh my God.
Advertisement spoke of cascading chocolate fountains. Instead, they got this, a sad-looking Oompa Loompa standing next to a half-finished science project.
So the police had to go down and bust up this event. Maybe they got 2 jelly beans.
But no chocolate.
Generally not a good idea when the internet compares your event to a meth lab, which is the case after this Willy Wonka experience, is what they were saying.
The parents' snaps also find their way onto Twitter, and people love it. And various pictures and clips of the event take to the stratosphere instantly, and it ushers in a flurry of memes and artwork. This pic goes down particularly well. It's recreated in Animal Crossing, The Sims, even in virtual reality. And within 1 week of the event, merch drops. Action figures are seen online, and costumes on eBay too. A Change.org petition even springs up to reopen the beloved Glasgow Willy Wonka experience. It quickly amasses 7,000 signatures. Then there's the Channel 5 documentary, a satire musical, and the whole thing even inspires an actual horror movie. Naturally, everyone is fascinated, and who better to hear from than Willy Wonka and his cook? And so, the press tour begins. They speak to CNN, MSNBC, The Independent, and a ton of other places. And it's not long before they're on Good Morning Britain, explaining their story. They say that they were duped just as much as the parents were. They first see the actual place on the day before it opened, and it looks terrible. But they assume it will be worked on throughout the night and made to look presentable. Nope. Some debated outright walking out before it started, but they decided to stay and do it. They were also given the 15-page script for the first time that same Friday, 1 day before it opened. That's also when they were given skimpy, cheap Oompa Loompa outfits, and the 2 Wonka outfits to be shared between 3 actors, all about 1 hour before parents arrived. The wigs were very cheap, one actress says. We were just handed an Amazon box that probably arrived that morning. When actresses asked how to do their makeup, they were told to just improvise. There were also no rehearsals. A few of them were promised 500 quid for the whole thing. However, apparently, as of now, only half of that has been paid. The setup staff say they've been paid nothing. Also, more about that 15-page script. A few days after it shut down, the event's actual script leaks, showing what Willy's chocolate experience would have been like had the budget been more than a tenner. Wonky Doodles at Macduff's Chocolate Factory, a script. It anticipated a lot of audience laughing and audience applauding. Here are some interesting excerpts. The stage transforms into a vibrant, mystical garden of enchantment, filled with oversized colourful flowers, twinkling lights, and mysterious pathways. Willy Macduff, with his distinct attire and a sparkle in his eyes, is joined by the playful Wonky Doodles, each holding baskets brimming with an assortment of whimsical sweets. Willy asks, who has packed an extra pair of socks? You know, in case the first pair gets knocked off by sheer amazement. The wonky doodles dance around, offering sweets to the audience members who have followed them onto the stage. Audience members are encouraged to move around and interact with the set pieces, including the giggle grass, which, when stepped on, triggers hidden speakers to play laughter sounds. The stage crew discreetly activates bubble machines, filling the area with bubbles. Audience members engage with interactive flowers, offering compliments, to which the flowers respond with pre-recorded, whimsical thank yous. The guests eagerly approach a table laden with the described sweets, each picking their choice with a mix of excitement and trepidation. With a flourish, Willy opens a previously unnoticed door, revealing a room where the air sparkles with floating bubbles, and rivers of sparkling lemonade flow freely. One part even seemingly asks an actor to produce real magic. He opens his hand and the bubble gently pops, releasing a small, twinkling light that ascends into the rafters, leaving the audience in awe. Another states that the unknown is supposed to be sucked up into a robotic vacuum, humorously ending the confrontation. So obviously, actors have questions. A lot of the stuff was outright impossible for the actors to actually do, as the budget for the event was about on par with a Big Mac meal. So when actors approach Billy and ask him questions like, how am I supposed to get sucked up into a huge robotic vacuum when there's no huge robotic vacuum? And how do I produce twinkling, lit up bubbles from my hand? They're given the same age-old advice. Improvise. It also comes out that the whole thing was shock, completely written using AI. Upon further reflection, so was the entire website, including every single image on that website. Alongside all the memes, art, and the flurry of media articles, at the end of the day, there were hundreds of people that had shelled out £35 a head for this, and they weren't happy about it. In fact, almost 1,000 people bought tickets, meaning House of Illuminati raked in almost £30,000 from this. And a Facebook group called House of Illuminati Scam promptly springs up, at first filled with disgruntled parents who'd paid for the event, but eventually with thousands of people just wanting to watch the chaos unfold. And naturally, a ton of posts and comments come flooding in. So people on the page do a little digging, and turns out House of Illuminati was actually just one guy, the man himself, Billy Cole. Naturally, the backlash against this man is strong, and he releases a stream of apologies via Facebook. He reiterates that refunds are on the way and informs us that, yes, the wedding plans are off. Okay. However, this news does little to quell the rage. People punch his name into Google and go in. And despite him having just scrubbed everything from his old YouTube channels, to his Facebook posts, to his LinkedIn, turns out there's still a treasure trove of information out there. Some less easily verifiable comments can be found, often from people saying that they've met the man in real life. There are claims he goes around telling people he's a banker, a medically trained doctor, and a lawyer. Also that he talks to spirits, is a psychic, and a ghost hunter too. Quite the resume. However, people do find his old accounts, and honestly, this stuff kind of tracks. On his website, he claims he has a Master of Business Administration degree, a PhD in philosophy, conscious business ethics and relationship dynamics, and a degree in theocentric psychology. However, upon closer inspection, these qualifications comes from the University of Sedona, who provide metaphysical degrees. His LinkedIn also claims he's done marketing for blue chip companies, and his Twitter states he's a reverend for the Universal Church of Life. Right. But this is just the tip of the iceberg. Turns out that during the last few years, Billy Cole has been a very busy man. See, back in early 2021, Cole co-founds Go and Bank Hub, a charity he'd serve as chief executive and director for, and he ends up crowdfunding almost £50,000 that year for it. Its services ranged from a local food bank, to benefits advice, to trauma care, and even emergency medical support. Well, that's how it started out. It wasn't long before they'd branch out, and into territory that they weren't quite qualified for, soon jumping into humanitarian aid, quarantine, distance education, and personal development. Basically, it was prestige worldwide.
Management.
Financial portfolios. Insurance.
Computers.
Black leather gloves.
There's also some accountancy issues. First-year accounts claimed that it raked in nearly £50,000 worth of income. This is through that crowdfunding, But while almost 50k of income was reported, they'd spent just about 34k, leaving more than £10,000 unaccounted for. To add to that, since 2022, radio silence. The Office of the Scottish Charity Regulator says they failed to provide all of the information on its finances and was now over 60 days late for the 2023 filings. These accounts are still overdue. Also, of that 50k of income, an apparent £10,000 of funding apparently came from the Scottish Government and the Glasgow Council, as well as through grants from other charities. Turns out that Go and Bank Hub had also used a ton of logos on their advertising materials to claim partnerships with various different entities, including Police Scotland and the US Army Medical Centre of Excellence, a US government body and a branch of the US Army. When asked about it, Police Scotland say they gave no permission and were not in any partnership. Also in 2021, Billy Cole comes out with a few posts advertising a huge gala event he'd set up in Glasgow's Doubletree Hilton Hotel. Advertising for the event included celebrities like DJ Gokwan and a famous drag race contestant doing cabaret, who he says were booked to take part in the £95 per head ticket. Turns out, this hotel was never booked. These people had never agreed to come, and it never actually happened. Well, actually, it kind of did end up happening. However, it wasn't a gala, and it was in a pub. And then in November 2021, outrage again. Go and Bank Hub had set up a Santa's Grotto event and had accepted presents from the local community to be handed out that Christmas. However, after receiving the presents, the whole thing was cancelled from what they say was due to COVID. It's unclear if presents were ever actually distributed. In 2022, Billy puts on the suit and goes into politics, attempting to use his charity to win a local council seat. He runs the campaign from the same office as his definitely legit charity and whips up this quick manifesto. For others, it's business. For me, it's personal. The front cover states, it has perfect grammar and high-quality 4K graphics. Tragically, he didn't win, and Go and Bank Hub closed in mid-2022 from what he says was an absolute lack of funding. But he's not gone for long. Soon after that closes, Cole is back, and this time he's Sigma. He has now established the self-improvement company, Billy the Savage, and he's selling a ton of stuff, doing life coaching, and most importantly, he's doing crunches. He can do 1,000 now. So there are a few things going on here. First, he has a site called Empowerity.com. Here, he claims to help people live a phenomenal life by providing the tools, knowledge, and information to grow a widely profitable business. Something he's done many a time, of course. Then he has SecretDesign.com. This is a website where he sells books on how to become financially free, and his personal insights on how the ultra-rich spend their money.
I'm revealing to you the rules of the rich. And these are the rules that some rich people really don't want you to know.
Then there's his YouTube channel, BC Christian. This is where you'd go to find his life coaching and advice. He's also writing and publishing books. A lot of them. With 17 books pumped out under his name on Amazon last summer alone. Instant classics, such as The Biohazard Protocol, The Shadow Directive, The Prophecy Matrix, and The Hidden Bile. All critically acclaimed. However, turns out that upon closer inspection, every single one of these books had been written using AI. Not even just some help. No, they're literally 100% copied and pasted from something like ChatGPT. Even his bio. And after pumping out his books throughout 2023, he'd go on to create extraordinary events and immersive experiences by blending art, technology, and storytelling together via his next company. And the rest is history. All in all, things didn't quite pan out quite as well as they could. However, there is some good. Someone finds the AI-generated backdrops in a bin outside the venue and decides to auction them off on eBay for charity. They go up for about 10 quid, but quickly reach almost £1,000 each. Even the cancelled sign is sold, also for over £1,000. Actors also supposedly get together with parents to try and arrange a second Willy Wonka experience in Glasgow to make up for the botched first one. So we'll see where that goes. Billy Cole continues to send out waves of apologies every few days, and is still insisting on providing refunds. However, a load of people still claim to be waiting on them. A ton of actors are apparently also still waiting for the second half of their money. Billy Cole apologises one more time in early March. It all looked good on paper, he says. And don't forget about the epic, accurate, action-packed War Thunder free-to-play PvP vehicle game. Sign up through the link in the description or comments for a big bonus pack.